superstar. He is an absolute superstar, Tom Mitchell. Cripps at the back. Cripps is too good. Nil, yes! Oh, how good was that?
After the final play, after the boots are off and the group chat starts firing, that's when the post-game moment hits. The debrief, the banter, the ice-cold beer. That's Hahn time. Whether it's full strength, mid, gluten-free or zero carb, Hahn's got a brew for every taste and every pace. So whether you're on the ground, in the stands or glued to the screens, wrap it up with a Hahn. Great taste, low carb, how good. Enjoy responsibly. 18 plus only. I'm going to have to try and keep a straight face for this one, Skunk. It's going to be tough to get through because over the years, not only one of my best mates in footy, but best mates in life, we've had some cracking times. I was thinking, how do I intro you? Are you the Skunk? Are you the Slugger? Are you Maury? Where do we start with the nicknames? Because there's plenty of them.
Maury's always been a classic. I'll probably get stuck into that one straight away. So it was early days at the Swans. I think Buddy had just rocked up, had a few sessions, and I'd walked into the locker room and said something to Bud or whatever, and then I think he might have turned to Dane Rampy, 23, locker 23, 24, and said to Ramps or something like, geez, that Paul Moore's not a bad fella. And Ramps just sort of looked and like, who? And he's like, Paul Moore, number one. And he's like, Tim Membrey, you mean? And he's like, oh, and above our lockers was our player sponsors, and
that's right.
My player sponsor was Paul Moore.
So it was player sponsor into name, and he was calling you Maury for a whole preseason.
Pretty much, yeah. And
that is so funny.
So he was calling me Maury, and then even like later on after I left the Swans, I'd be lining up for goal playing the big Bud, and I'd just hear across the ground, Maury, Maury. But yeah, so I caught Maury for a few years there.
So good. How good was it playing with the Bud? Not that, you might have played one game with him. I played a bit of footy with him, but then we also had Goodsy as well, who you were super tight with Goodsy.
Yeah, I know. I was, when I think about my time with the Swans, I think about really. We weren't necessarily going to play a game up there, but us reserves boys just had an absolute ball. Sharing the locker room with some of the greats of the game. But yeah, going back to Goodsy is someone that I guess I latched onto pretty early on up there, and he was just a great mentor for me. Used to go around to his place for dinners, and just sitting back with a guy like him and hearing stories and learning off him. He was just someone that I really attached to, and it was just a great friend.
We were pretty lucky, like you said, with the amount of talent and arguably some of the greats to ever have played the game, and we're rubbing shoulders with them thinking, how good's this? Like you said, we were playing NEFL at the time. We played a lot of VFL. Oh, sorry, it was called NEFL then, but now it's VFL. But like you said, we've had some classic stories over the years, and I reckon we delve into a couple today.
Yeah.
One that just sprung to mind then, because you used to live with Jed Lamb.
Yeah.
So you, Lammy, and Goodsy was like a little pack. He must have mentored you guys in our mentor groups, I reckon.
Well, I think early on him and Lammy were pretty close, and then I obviously moved in with Jed Lamb and Jake Lloyd for my first season. And yeah, Lammy and Goodsy were pretty tight, and then I guess that's how I got pretty close with Goodsy there. But
that was one of the best things about the Swans was the housing system. Remember how, I don't know if it occurs these days, normally new players get billeted out to host families. But when we came through at the Swans, there was 5 or 6 houses, I think owned by the club or rented by the club.
Yeah.
And it would be a third year, a second year, and a first year. So I was with Lukey Parker and then Harry Cunningham.
Yeah, no, that was good. I know there was about 4 houses or so, and there was 3 blokes in one house, and
we'd go do dinners every night.
Yeah, it was great. Like by the end of it, you wouldn't know who was living with who because it was just blokes everywhere in all different houses. But yeah, Lammy was pretty funny to live with at times. I know. I think it was his third year. He started to crack into the ones team and was playing a few games there. And if he was picked in the side, he'd be ice bathing, extra stretching, recovery, yoga, doing everything. And then a couple of weeks later, he might have got dropped, and it was like, this is shit. Bullshit. Straight to the fridge, grab a beer the night before a game.
Because I remember Monday nights was Bondi Pizza Night. Tuesdays was
That's right.
Tropicana.
Yeah.
Wednesdays was Churrasco's.
Churrasco's.
Every night of the week we had a spot to go for dinner for all the young guys. We did everything together.
Yeah.
And then I remember that night we were having dinner at your place the night before a reserves game. And Lammy's like, well, boys, I'm playing twos, and just goes to the fridge and just starts sculling beers.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I mean, like, that was the best thing about living with Lammy. He's just always kept you on your toes. But, yeah, I'll never forget those nights when he'd get dropped from the senior team and he'd be like, back in the twos, grab a beer out
Just
of the
completely
fridge.
drop all your standards from the week before.
Oh, so good.
Mentioned Churrasco's there, and I had to put on the American accent for, I reckon, probably the biggest character I've met in AFL footy, and he's not going to be known to anyone listening because he didn't ever play a game, but Patrick Mitchell, he's probably not listening, he's in America, but he just came for an absolute joyride, didn't he?
Oh, my God. He absolutely was on the biggest holiday.
Living in Paul Roos's mansion.
So I remember, like, another thing, we'd be all living together, but Saturday arvos, just played twos, you'd be like, all right, what are we doing, boys?
Yeah.
Paddy, you got a place we could go to?
That's right.
Righto, come back to my place. Paul Roos's mansion in Coogee, overlooking the bay. I mean, it was just unreal, and all the lads would just flock there.
So good.
Probably unbeknown to Roosie, but we'd had some
Yeah,
of
I
the
think
great,
he ended up finding out. But
had some of the great house parties there, and then, yeah, poor old Paddy Mitchell, I think, got
well,
the
I remember
axe.
because, do you remember the day in the NEFL voting or something?
Oh, that was
You
the
love
best.
this one.
That was the best. So, I think it was, like the league BNF, and it was like a 3-2-1 count, and it was obviously Tommy and Paddy share the same last name, and it was Mitchell 3 votes, Biggs 2 votes, and Robbo 1 vote or whatever. And I remember Paddy like going, "Shit, I got the 3 votes then." He was like, "Man, I only had the 3 touches and 2
Four
hit-outs,
hit-outs.
but man, I must have competed pretty well." I think he thought he got the 3 votes, but it was Tommy who had probably 50
so
touches
funny.
and a couple of
The
goals.
one that I'll never forget about Paddy was he missed back-to-back recoveries and gave the speech to the boys, the
Yeah.
apology speech to the whole group. Boys, I can promise you this will never happen again.
Yeah. Oh,
The next week it happened again. And then, I don't know if we should mention this, but I'm going to. I remember the leadership group made Paddy do a ring of fire where, I don't know if you remember this, he was in the middle, maybe not everyone was there, and they had everyone in a circle around him, or a big group of people, with boxing gloves
Boxing
on.
gloves, yeah,
and
I
he had to
remember that.
box with
Yeah. It was
guys
like,
coming in fresh every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is actually pretty full on. Like, he got belted.
I remember that. Yeah, it was all just a big circle, everyone with gloves on. We're all just like elbowing each other, waiting for our turn to give him a go. And he was absolutely
The
spent.
best was him just promising it won't happen. And the next week, he got...
I think I remember, quick story, we were going to like Clavalley for
It
a
was.
recovery session because of Paddy early in the morning. We're all up on the hill, and then we turn around, we can't see Paddy. We start
late till
walking
his own
back down,
recovery.
and he's running up the hill to the
You see a red
boys.
jacket coming from a night out. Oh, man. It's
good.
Some good times. What about, not that we were carrying on this night, but this is one of the ones I was thinking of on the drive-in. When I was in stitches in the drive-in
Yeah.
thinking like, fire out, we've done some funny things. But you must have been your first year, I would have been my second year, and we went out for dinner in Double Bay one night, drove in.
That's right.
And
yeah.
and then the day off was the next day, so it must have been like a Wednesday or a Thursday. And we're like, oh, let's just pop out for a look. Like,
Yeah, why not?
we're not having a drink or anything.
Yeah.
We're just going out for a look. And like when you're in your first couple of years, you're pretty, serious, and you don't really know how the lay of the land works.
That's right.
And I remember that night we ran into Kieran Jack's girlfriend, I
Yep.
think now wife, Charlotte,
Yep.
and we're like, oh. We're done here.
Yeah,
we're done.
we're done.
She's
Yeah.
going to tell kids that we were out. It was only like 10 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
And we weren't even doing anything bad. The next day we get to the club. Kizza and Macca, Jared McVeigh, are having a meeting.
You remember
And
this?
we're like, oh, we're done.
My
We're,
heart
like
just sunk.
careers are over.
Yeah.
And then they called a leadership group meeting. We're like, oh no. And we're like, let's just get on the front foot and tell them like we'll apologise and do what we got to do. And then it was an all players meeting called.
Yeah.
And we're looking across at each other, and there was like
Sweating bullets.
sweating bullets. We're like, let's just get up and do it.
Yeah.
Thank God it was about something completely unrelated, and it was not even a big deal. But do you remember looking at each other, being like, let's just get up and apologise?
I honestly remember like going into the meeting, we were sort of like behind each other and we were just like heads down. I'm thinking, we've got to do something here. We just got to get on the front foot straight away, hit it on the head.
Normally a player stay
on.
meeting's a crisis meeting.
Oh my God. But yeah, it was something about, nothing involving that.
I know.
It's probably a positive meeting.
So funny. Far out. What about your family? So life has changed a lot since those Sydney days. You've got 2 kids now, Red and Bo.
Yep.
And you've got a third on the way.
Yep.
In which month is that?
Next month, so July.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Boy, girl, not sure.
Little boy.
Little boy.
Little boy on the
skunk.
way. Yeah. So pretty wrapped about that. Got the 2 girls who have been great fun, and they're just, balls of energy.
Ren is especially.
Yeah, Ren's a classic. Got some good stories about Ren.
Well, I love Ren's story about, how old is she now?
She'll be 4 in 2 weeks, yeah.
So every night you put her to bed, she demands a snack plate. So what's on the snack plate?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a weird one. So don't know how we started this, but it just, I guess, bribery. We put her to bed and she wants a snack plate in bed. So it might be like grapes, grain waves, some apples, maybe like a lolly or something like that, just to, get her in bed. And then will be like 10 o'clock at night. I'll just pop my head in there and have a look, and she's asleep with like a couple of grapes left, maybe a couple of grain waves left, and then go in there in the morning and the snack plate's just empty. So she's woken up in the middle of the night.
Midnight snacking.
Had a bit of a graze, put herself back to sleep.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and just recently actually, because she was in a double bed with a little bedside table, and that's where she'd put her snack plate.
Yeah.
And just recently we built her some bunk beds because she wanted some bunk beds, and she was up on the top bunk, and straight away, she's not even like saying thanks to the bunk bed. She just like looks down and she's like, "Dad, where am I going to put my snack plate? You're going to have to build the bedside table up a bit higher."
And didn't she one night you put her to bed, this is just recently as well, you put her to bed on the bottom bunk.
Yeah,
and she comes screaming in the night. You thought someone had broken in.
Yeah, so we'd come back from property out in Gippsland, and we drove home, and it was quite late. It was about 8:30 at night, and she'd fallen asleep in the car, so we just put her in bunk bed. I wasn't going to lift her up to the top bunk, just put her down the bottom bunk, tucked her in, and it was about like 3 o'clock in the morning. She probably woke up for a snack plate, realised that she was like, "Hang on a minute, I'm on the bottom bed here." Yeah. She's come flying into the bedroom screaming, and I'm like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" She's like, "Dad, you put me on the bottom bed. Put me up the top."
I don't sleep on the bottom.
So I had to walk her back in, help her up on the top bunk. So yeah, she's a bit of a character.
She's a serious character, Ren. I think, was she in a meeting recently? Because Collingwood's so good with families and kids, and especially for someone that has a few, like your kids must come in and have a ball. And to the point where, was there one of my Flyers meetings where they were in there just running the show to the point where they're like, "All right, we probably actually got to get with the meeting." Yeah,
I know. Like I was another time I was like sitting in there. I was like, "Oh, how good's this?" Like kids are in the meeting. I think it was my debut for the Flyers or whatever, and Flyers up there, and he's sort of addressing, how we're gonna play against, I think it was the Giants at the time or whatever, and they started to run amok and were talking and crying and yelling and laughing, and I just remember Darcy Cameron was sort of sitting next to me, and he's looking over his shoulder, and he's like, "Righto," and I'm thinking the same thing, like, let's just get him out of here, this is so distracting. I think it was Fly actually eventually goes, "Righto, we might get you kids to go to my office. I've got some lollies in there."
Yeah,
anyway, after that meeting, Ren comes up to me and goes, "Dad, there was no lollies." She was fuming.
Should have held Fly accountable too. Fly, where's my lollies?
Yeah, so.
We used to train pretty hard as well at the Swans. It was really tough. So those pre-seasons were tough.
Oh, yeah, hard.
Really tough.
Really
and
hard.
Probably the hardest sessions you'll do. We train hard now. Every team trains hard, but that was to exhaustion a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I remember early days when you first got there, the 3K, it was a 3K, not a 2K. And you made a statement first day.
Made a big statement.
Yeah.
It
involved the park bench.
Yeah, this is probably one of the all-time stories, this one. Looking back now, it's pretty funny, but at the time, geez, I was devastated.
You didn't eat a carb you went full shred mode after this.
Oh my God, yeah. So I still thank the great man, Horse Longmire, for this, because I reckon it turned me into, I guess, the player that I am today.
Yeah.
So it was after my first year, came back, had a pre-season, off season back in my hometown, Traralgon, training with just mates who aren't really like AFL footballers. So I was like flogging them in all the running. I'm thinking like I'm flying here, like I'm so fit. Get back up to the to Sydney, day one of pre-season, 3K time trial. Off we go. We started. I'm about a K in and I'm dying. Like I'm struggling big time. Come dead last, and I just was like on all haunches. The group's all getting together, high five, and I've found a park bench. I've gone just.
I remember it. I can visualise in Centennial Park the exact bench and looking over your head in hands.
Oh, it was just I was absolutely cooked. I was like on the park bench, breathing like I was exhausted, and anyway, the boys eventually come over to me, like get around me, blah blah. Later on that arvo, go into the meeting. Horse is sort of up the front, and he's like, a lot of boys made some statements today, ready to play like senior footy. It's great. Like, and he looks down and he goes, a couple of boys made some statements. He's like, Tim Membrey made a big statement. And I'm thinking, fuck, maybe I've ran pretty well here. Like, I've gone all right. I've cracked in. And he just went on to just be like, you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Off season, just carrying on, like took the piss, and I've just like, basically wide eyed, nearly crying, like just embarrassed. And
the best is that 5 seconds before they were like, shit, maybe I've done right.
Like I just hear like big statements, Tim Membrey, and I'm thinking, like I've gone alright here, like I'm flying. But I just embarrassed myself, and till this day, like I reckon that was the biggest turning point. I was like, right, I'm gonna,
because that was one of those ones where you're exposed in front of the group, which no one likes.
No one likes it,
no.
And I was just like, right, that's never gonna happen to me again. Like I'm gonna turn what was a weakness, fitness, into a strength, and I feel like I've just worked really hard at it, and I feel like it's set
your
me
fitness
up.
is good now. Like we've always been that sort of third key position player.
Yeah.
But like we did some running sessions over the break. You move well.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like I was like, all right, that's something that I can get better at, and now I feel like I've over my career turned into a bit of a strength. So, but yeah, that day was not a good. It
was a dark day for
It was a dark day.
What about when we used to as well? Because I remember your diet was always pretty elite, and you've always been pretty shredded. But later in the season, we'd obviously do our weights programs. Then I remember there was one year we went to Bali. I actually missed that trip last minute.
Thailand.
I got sick, but
second year, I think.
and then we had Thailand the second year, and you'd sort of lead the charge with extras post gym session.
6 weeks out. Baby.
6 weeks out to get the rigs right for Thailand.
Yeah.
And not
had a big
footy
crew.
related. We had a big crew.
We had a big crew.
It was just basically buys, tries, and abs, and you would take the classes.
Yeah, like the boys would obviously we get the program, go in, start a weights,
Get your squats done, your RDLs,
squats, all the boring stuff.
all the boring stuff. Yeah.
And then the boys would be hanging around because they'd see me over there in the corner, ready to run the off-season program. Sit-ups, buys, tries, all the muscles that are important.
We'd have a countdown to Thailand as well. Like 4 weeks out, boys. Let's get going.
Yeah, so that was some of the good days too. So we had some fun.
So good. What about your transition from Sydney to St Kilda? Because the Saints, you had pretty amazing career. 3-time leading goal kicker, 179 games?
Yeah, 78, I think.
178. Played some really good footy there. How did that move come about? Was it opportunity? Was it wanting to come home?
It was sort of a bit of a funny one. I mean, 2 years at the Swans, and then at the end of that year, Goodsy wasn't quite sure what he was going to do, and I guess they were waiting for him to make a decision. And Horse pretty much said to me in my exit meeting, just said, we think he can play senior footy. We're just not quite sure where it sort of all sits at the moment, whether it's here or somewhere else. And he sort of just said, we're happy for you to go and explore some options. And at the time, I had a couple clubs that were interested, and St Kilda being one of those. And I thought, well, it's home, it's in Melbourne, closer to family and friends, and they'd offered me a 3-year contract, and I was like, can't really say no. So.
Because you played the one game at the Swans.
Played the one game at the Swans.
Who'd you come in for that day?
The Big Bud.
Big Bud.
That's another
like
funny.
For like.
Yeah, pretty much. That's another funny story. So, Bud laid out with a sore knee. So Friday morning got the call and coming in for Bud and I remember at the start of the game I was sort of walking around, sort of getting warmed up, and Big Bud come up to me and he goes, "Just getting you that matchy for the off season, baby." So I'll never forget that.
That is classic. What was a matchy in those days? It would have been 2 or 3K.
Yeah, something like that. So big money
That's
for an 18-year-old.
good coin for it. Bloody oath.
Yeah. And then what were we talking about before that?
We're talking about your transition to St Kilda.
So then obviously the Saints had offered me
3 years.
a contract, 3 years, and couldn't really say no. And again, got there 2015, sort of finding my feet the first year, and ended up dislocating my shoulder towards the end of that year, and then had a pretty big pre-season, got the body, in good condition, and after that came in and sort of that was it. Away I went. So
Which were the years? What was your best year of footy, do you think? Because you had years where you've kicked 40 and 50.
Best year of footy. Whoa.
Leading goal kicker 3 times. So maybe what years were they?
I think they were 2016, 2017, and maybe 22, I think.
Yeah.
Or 21, maybe 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the year I had with Big Maxi King, where he kicked 50, I think I kicked maybe 35 or 40 or something like that. But I really enjoyed that year. Like there was a lot of hype around Maxi, someone who I, just love. Really hope he can get himself up and going because he's just a star and works really hard. So I want to see him, come back and really play some strong footy. I really enjoyed that year. I think we worked really well together, and it's just a good, fun year. Had a lot of good boys in some good form as well. So
yeah.
And
then if we go from St Kilda to Collingwood, the day. So 2 things. Sorry. You remember you doing a tour in the off season?
Yeah.
And I was doing some training in the gym, and I double take, and I was like, "Skunk, what are you doing here?"
I know, it was so funny
Because you must have kept it under wraps.
It was very much under
knew.
wraps because it was late in the off season. I still hadn't heard much on the Saints, and I was sort of thinking maybe that's it, And then Bainey, my manager.
So you thought your career could have been done?
Yeah, at one stage, I was thinking it's pretty quiet. Maybe that's it. And Bainey's like, "Look, the Pies are pretty keen. Let's just go have a chat or whatever." So I was like, how's this going to work? Going to walk through their facilities. There's probably going to be boys there training, and it's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I'm walking in, cross over to the footy side of the building, and first bloke I see is Tommy Mitchell walking out of the sauna.
What are the chances?
I was just like, you are kidding.
That is so... And there was no one else really around.
No, there wasn't. It was a pretty quiet day in there. So I was like, had a quick chat and kept moving, and then it happened pretty quickly.
I buzzed you that up. I was like, "Mate, what's going on?"
Yeah, I know. You're all over
Because then they figured out the club, I guess, that we were close mates.
Yeah.
And then I started getting asked about you. I was like, "You have to take him."
Yeah.
Great person, great player, and it's just worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it has. It's honestly just... Yeah, I've been so lucky in my career, but, to, I guess, finish at a club like Collingwood, who's just a massive club and got so many great people involved. I mean, I pinch myself still to this day and playing the big games, and, it's just been awesome.
What about the day that the news and signing actually went through? You were off-grid out hunting, which you love to do as well.
Yeah, yep. So I pretty much, they wanted to get a bit of a photo and stuff like that done. And they were like, let's do it the day. And I was like, still the off season. I'm probably going to be away, off grid and won't have reception or whatever. So we had to bring that forward and get it. And
Well, remember I came in for that day as well and presented your first jumper.
That's right. Yeah, that was awesome. So, I mean, that's another thing that they do so well.
Yeah.
We came, me, Em, and the girls, we come in and I look over and here's you walking over with, 2 jumpers for the kids. And that was pretty special moment.
Yeah.
One of my great mates give me a jumper, my new club. So it was awesome.
Yeah. And the girls were just loving
they
it.
were excited. Yeah. That was a pretty funny day. They're just, chaos and, they were excited.
What about the hunting? Because that's a real hobby of yours. So quite regularly, especially in the off season. We'll get your mates. You'll go completely off grid, no reception.
Yeah.
Camp out for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
We'll actually have to get some photos up of some of the things you do with your shooting and things because it's pretty epic. But how did that hobby start? And then how often do you do it? What's been your best catch or biggest catch?
It's just something I've done since I was young. Like I've been from the country, you know, growing up in and on farms and that sort of thing. Like I've just loved my rabbit shooting, fox shooting, and then a bit older started getting into like the deer hunting and duck shooting and that type of thing. And that's just something that I've always been interested in. I feel like it's very, I guess, an opposite to what I'm. You know, I live in the city, play AFL, and then I get to go away when I've got time and just completely switch off. And
it's a whole different world.
It is. And I've got really, you know, some great friends that I do it with, and they're not out there hassling me about footy and everything. Half of them don't really know what's going on, which is great. So, and it's hard work. Like when we do, you know, some big hunts and hikes, like you're hiking up some big mountains and carrying some heavy packs, and it's good fitness, and I just enjoy that.
So how long could you walk in kilometres per day through terrain? It's like
I mean,
or do you sort of pick a spot and camp out?
Yeah,
you're out there for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, so you're trying to take as little, you know, food as possible because you don't want to be too heavy. Yeah. I mean, like tins of tuna, that type of thing, just little, you know, nuts and
Little
stuff.
snack plates.
Yeah, little snack plates. But yeah, like it's something I've just always enjoyed. There's heaps of, like it's hard work. Like you got to think about a lot of things, the wind, the weather. You know, deer are very clever. They can smell you from a mile away.
Are they really?
Yeah, so...
and can they sense any movement on
yeah,
noise?
they're the smartest animal, I reckon, in the world.
Really?
Like, they're just very, very clever. Big ears, big nose, like bigger than mine. So, it's just... I enjoy it. I love it.
And so have you kept any real deer for yourself?
Yeah, so the deer that I mainly hunt is sambar deer.
Because I've been to your house, your old house, when you had a deer hanging up.
Remember? Yeah, I've got a few animals taxidermed. I went over to New Zealand a couple of years and did a hunt over there for a tar, and that was incredible, like just amazing scenery. But yeah, again, just got some animals taxidermed in the house, but they're out in the shed now because Em's not really fond of them being in the house. But,
at the farmhouse?
Down the farmhouse.
Yeah. We need to get it out to the farmhouse.
Definitely.
Get you a few Hans out there, get a few boys to crack in. Low carb, this would be good for our off-season training program.
That'll be in the program, the low carb.
Super dry, low carb, 113 calories. That's right up our alley, that is.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah. And so what about the experience of Collingwood? You touched on it briefly, but we've both been fortunate enough to come to such an amazing place and be a part of it. You talk about playing in big games, and you played in the Anzac Day and a few good sallies from the Skunk as well. Like it's incredible. Like hopefully, like it's not too far away from playing our first game together.
Oh no,
we actually never played together. It's insane.
We've never played senior footy together, so it's not too far away.
It'll be a cool moment walking up the race.
Yeah, that will be. It's just been a great experience. Like they're just such a big club, such a big fan base, and I mean, get to play with superstars like yourself.
I haven't played yet.
Well, you know what I mean. Train with superstars. Scott Pendlebury's obviously, you know, not too far off breaking the game's record. Steel side bottom, and then guys like, you know, Nick Dacos and his brother Joshua coming through, and they're just absolutely freaks at what they do.
Even the way the forwards work well together, like it seems like, have you played your best footy as a third tall or a key? Because we've obviously got Checkers, Dan McStay, Coxie when he's there.
Yeah.
Does that help your footy, do you think, when you get a third tall? What's your preference?
I feel like it's probably something that I'm still adjusting to in the team. Like they play that key position role, but they really are just, you know, structured. They've got the key position roles. They've got their guys who are up and out sort of roles. And I feel like it's just so simple for me. Just bring the ball to ground, compete. And that's what I've just enjoyed being at the Pies. Like they're just so organised in what each player, you know, needs to do.
The roles are very specific.
Yeah, they are. Which it's just been a breath of fresh air really. So
what about, so you've had you would have had more than 3 coaches, but you've been coached by Horse, Ross, Fly. What are the key differences? What are each of their strengths? Because
I mean, they're all they're all been good coaches. Like Horse early days was probably someone, I guess, is still that old schoolish, I guess, kind of coach. And well, I feel like I'll ever be in debt for Horse for getting me up and going, giving me that spray that I needed.
Yeah, the park bench.
Yeah,
I remember when you did your first time trial at Collingwood before we started it. You go, "Oh, Tommy, is there a park bench here? I might need it."
Yeah, need a park bench. Always need a park bench just in case. And then I had Brett Ratton, who I got along with really well.
Yeah, I loved Rats as well.
Yeah, he was a great man. And obviously Fly now, who's just the way he brings everyone in. You look around the team meeting room, there's just people from the other side of the building, the whole footy department, and very smart, just the way he, encapsulates all the players and brings them all in, along for the ride.
Makes everyone feel so valued.
Yeah.
Like you said, that was the biggest eye-opener for me getting to Collingwood, the support staff and everyone who gets bought in and celebrated. I just think that's, when I leave footy, that's going to be one of our biggest learnings. Like, all the people that put in so much effort, they are made to feel a part of it. They come to all the meetings. We celebrate a few of them each week and thank them for what they do. I'm just like, that's just such a good thing to do.
Oh, it is. I mean, he just does it so well. Like, from the youngest player on the list to the oldest player on the list, I guarantee you they both feel just as important as one another.
Yeah.
And same as the coaches, the way that we, shout out, coaches and people behind the scenes that don't get recognised. Yeah, he's just very impressive.
There has to be something in that, isn't there, around feeling appreciated and valued? You're obviously going to come and give your best.
Oh, definitely. And I think the way that the program's set up too, and, we're obviously quite a experienced list and mature, and we do get a lot of time to ourselves, spend with our family, and then when we get back into the club, everyone's so, I guess, energised and ready to get to work. And
it's a different approach to
it is
what we experienced, I guess, early days at Sydney, which, who knows what works, what doesn't work, but it was just a different approach. Like, we would be the young players at the time. We'd have massages at 6, 7 p.m. You'd be there from 7. You'd have 12-hour days, long days, whereas it was sort of like earn your stripes. Whereas now Collingwood is very much a lot of time off, or, time to refresh and recharge, but when we're in, we're on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's been, and the standards at training are just unbelievable. Like, they're just really, like you said, when we're on, we're training in the gym. The gym's,
Gym's a good place to be.
Good fun.
Brazzy's got the tunes. Brazzy's got the tunes firing.
Tunes, Walk out of there with a headache sometimes, but the tunes are good.
Mate, you can't talk. I reckon back in the day, you used to drive us to training and put on those, remember the Hidden Forest playlists?
Oh, yeah.
Who were they by again?
Oh, they were just all like different nightclubs around Melbourne, I think.
Yeah, and you'd blare it down Anzac Parade.
You're like 6 a.m. in the morning driving in. Wake up, tunes blaring.
We had our first festival, I reckon, together as well. Remember Birdie took us to Avicii?
Avicii,
that was a good day too.
We started at Birdie's.
I think we started at Birdie's balcony.
On the balcony parties. Yeah.
And we used to dress up as lads, remember? Like as a gag. It must have been a thing at the time. Everyone would wear like the Speed Dealer Sunnies, the bum bags.
I still love, like, what was that, 13 years ago?
Yeah, we still talk about the same shit.
And we still crack the same gags in the gym, like around the locker rooms.
Will it ever change?
No, I don't think so.
I hope we're still doing this at 20.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't change.
In 20 years, sorry. Yeah. Far out, so funny. What about your partner, Em? She's obviously been amazing support for you.
Yeah.
How important is it to have that support, in footy as well? Having, like you said, we spoke about balance, but then having people in your corner who...
Yeah.
I was chatting to someone yesterday. It was actually Zach Merritt from Essendon.
Yeah.
And he's had a superstar career. And he was even saying there's more downs and ups in footy. And I was even looking at him thinking, mate, you've done everything. And you're saying there's still more downs. He's like, mate, it's a bloody tough caper.
It is. It is a very tough caper. And I feel like whoever it is, each individual is going to be different with their support people around them. But for me, Em's just always been in my corner. Like, probably get emotional, but like, she's just, like you said, but there's always plenty of downs in footy, and it's a big roller coaster. But I feel like she's just always, kept me sort of level-headed, not riding like, you want to ride the highs and that sort of thing, but there's going to be plenty of lows. So you just got to make sure you don't go too low with them and just stay very level. And I feel like yeah, she's just been a great support. Always, keeps me busy doing things outside of footy with the kids, and we've got a bit of a project going on out with our farmhouse that we're sort of renovating. And
Keen as to see that.
Yeah, and so that's been really good for both of us. So yeah, she's just been an amazing support, amazing person. Like, she's very popular amongst our family and friends, and
she's a ripper.
She's a champ.
I think as well, like as you slowly integrate into Collingwood more and more. Like, I've been fortunate enough to spend time with her over the years, but just such a warm, good person. I think having good people in your corner is just such a big thing. And we've got a big audience of people who, I guess, from all ages of people. But what is your advice to those people in terms of strategies to best deal with stress of any part of your life, whether it's work stress, life stress?
Yeah.
What have you found that's worked best for you? I've got things that I can probably talk about as well, but there's support. But what are some things that you think are really important?
I mean, for me, I like to just try and get them out there. So if there's something that I'm probably thinking about for, more than 24 hours, so like it's sort of lingering around a bit, then that's probably when you need to maybe chat to a support person or whatever.
Get out of your own head.
Yeah, just get it out of your head. Write it down.
Yeah.
And then that way you're talking about it, and then it slowly will just, might start to go away, that type of thing. So
that's a good one for men especially, I think.
Yeah.
I've found since being with Taylor, we've only been together for just over a year, but exactly that. Like, having someone you're so comfortable with that you can say anything without judgment.
Yeah.
But getting out of your head, because as males, you probably, like you say, you bottle things up and you try and push on. Like, I've probably dealt with a little bit in just recent weeks.
Yeah.
And you've played a little bit of AFL, but I'm just back playing footy, but like a real, I shouldn't say embarrassment. There's excitement to play footy again, but it's like a bit of embarrassment of far out. I'm like one of the only guys playing VFL.
Yeah.
But even just being able to have that conversation with someone, it's like, hey, like, you've been out for 12, 13 months. Be grateful you're playing.
Exactly right.
A lot of positives, but sometimes you just need to hear that to be like, shit, you're right. Like, because I was rocking up to games like, I'm so embarrassed, like, it's, and you get yourself in a negative headspace.
Yeah. And one thing too is, like, nothing is off limits with your support person or whoever it may be. Like, you can just, if you fully trust them, you can just say whatever you want and just say it. Like, just get it out there, because whatever it might be, they might not have the answers, but at least they're a bit of a soundboard. They can hear it. They might have an experience, or they might be able to, point you in the right direction or whatever. And half the time you chat to your mates or whatever about stuff that you get a bit deeper or a bit personal with, and they might just be like, mate, I know exactly what you're going.
Well, I feel like we've got that great relationship. Like, everyone needs good mates, and we've always like kept in contact over the years and caught up. And I don't know, I feel like that stigma, if you have even a few close mates, I feel like, say, having those conversations with you, that feels fully normal for me. Maybe because we've had good practice at it over the years, but I hope that other people feel the same. But maybe it's the environment at Collingwood, but I think more people more often are feeling good about just like, it can sound silly at the time, but then you just like, I could say something to you and you're like, hey, just, nah, that's not it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Last story that just came to mind, Tropicana. So this could be one of those stories that is, like, if you're not there, it's not funny.
Yeah, I know. But, like, we still run it, and I don't know why. And there's a few boys probably, I think Harry would probably
Harry
know
Cunningham,
what we're talking about.
We used to go to a place called Tropicana on a Tuesday in Coogee. And all the staff...
Tight ass Tuesdays.
Yeah, $10 pasta.
$10 pastas.
Yeah. And, again, this may not be funny for everyone listening, but we still piss ourselves at it because we're like, whenever we have a spare moment, like, oh, do you want to go get a coffee or a smoothie?
Yes.
So all the staff there were all Swedish.
Yeah, they were all, like backpackers, I guess. Yeah.
And we'd always, they'd always knew that the boys like smoothies.
Yeah.
But they would say smoothie.
We just used to love the way they would say smoothie, and they would say it with no TH, it'd be S, it'd be smoosey. So we'd be almost baiting.
Carbonara pasta, and they're like, would you like a smoothie?
Yeah. Mornings, like, bake, maybe can I get the smashed avo, on sourdough, 2 poached eggs, and what are these, banana, and then be baiting them. And then
we go, like, what are the banana or the mango? And they go, oh, the smoothies.
Smoothies, yeah. So we used to love it.
Good times. Good to reminisce, because some of those stories just get...
Yeah,
you get forgotten about, but some great times over the years, and mate, more good times to come with footy. I can't wait to play with you. It's going to be
great.
It's going to be good. Walking up the race at the G, but mate, thanks for coming on for a chat.
No worries.
And go dominate again this weekend.
Wait. Looking forward.
What are you doing for the bye, by the way?
The bye, heading back down to the farmhouse. So
Hunting?
got a little bit of a project. We might try and sneak out one morning.
Yeah.
See what's around.
Would I be out of my depth out there?
You would be very out of your depth.
I got to do it once.
Yeah. You've got the Isuzu MUX. So
True. Would that wouldn't get bogged?
No, you'd be right, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah.
The skunk might have to take me out. Actually, that's one thing we didn't cover because we spoke about Paul Moore, that nickname.
Yep.
Tell me about the skunk because I downloaded ChatGPT to get its thoughts on why you called the skunk, and it said something about your haircut.
Yeah. This might end all conversations, hopefully.
Yeah.
But if I don't have time and it's like sort of people that, I feel like might not want to hear the real story, but I just tell them I had a funny haircut and it looked like a skunk.
You couldn't be bothered going into it?
Couldn't bother.
Because pretty much 95% of people I know call you skunk.
Yeah. It was just a story back in the day. It was like under 14s or 15s or whatever, and we're all like had to give each other nicknames or something. Our old coach, and I could do this trick where I could suck air in my ass and fart it out. Can you say that? Suck air.
100%. Yeah. You can say whatever you want.
And so I could do it.
Is that a party trick?
It was a party
Can
trick.
you still do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to have a try and do it, but I could. Yeah. So, and I could just literally fart on cue, and
so I didn't even know this. I just thought it used to be just because you would drop bombs, but that's a bit more detail.
Yeah. So it was like a skunk, and then I remember just saying like we could like kind of. It's like what a skunk can do. Then they just started calling me skunk, and then
it's
that
stuck
was it.
ever since.
It's just stuck. Like.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Let's end on that note, Skunker.
Yeah.
Good job.
Awesome.
Well done.
Thanks, Tommy.